Hey everybody, it's Patrick. Grandma, happy birthday. Congrats on the big century. I just wanted to share this, guys, with you. I thought it was sort of fun and interesting, but I was thinking about Grandma and what life was like 100 years ago. I've always liked talking to Grandma about life was like back then when she was younger. There's the Parade of Progress from General Motors. And I remember her telling me about like polio and the polio vaccine, for instance. So Grandma would have been 33 years old in 1955 when the polio vaccine was in wide use. So for her 100th birthday, pause for applause. Why did I write that in there? Anyway, I was looking at photos from the early 20th century, reading some stuff on the internet, when I learned about something that helped me understand life 100 years ago in a new and interesting way. And so I was going to share it with you now. This is a picture of some kids playing on the elephant in front of Northland's shopping center in Detroit. So in 1937, Grandma would have been 15 years old. The psychologist Edward Thorndike was trying to understand something. When people make a statement like, you couldn't pay me to do, whatever, just how serious were they? And this was another way to figure out what did people find shocking in 1937 and how shocking exactly. So he asked people, how much money would you have to be paid to do a variety of different, quote unquote, shocking things? And here's what he found in 1937. What was shocking? And it kind of gave me a way to think about life back then in a new way that is maybe even better than a photograph. So here was one of the things he asked people: how much would you have to be paid to walk down Broadway from 120th Street to 80th Street at noon, wearing evening clothes and no hat? And people on average said they would require about $4,192.17. This is adjusted for inflation back in 1937. So how much money would you need to spit on a picture of Charles Darwin? They'd need $419.22 to spit on a picture of the revered Charles Darwin. How much money would you need to attend Sunday morning service in St. Patrick's Cathedral and in the middle of the service run down the aisle to the altar yelling, "The time has come, the time has come," as loud as you can until you are dragged out? This is the exact quote from the study. And they would require $2 million, just almost $2,100,000 to do such a shocking and really repulsive act. How about how much money would you have to be paid to live all the rest of your life in New York City? Just over $1 million. And that's just to move there, not even to pay the rent. How about how much money would you have to be paid to live all the rest of your life on a farm in Kansas, 10 miles from any town? And people back in 1937 said they would need significantly over $20 million to do such a crazy, shocking, and horrible thing like move to a farm in Kansas 10 miles from any town. So I was trying to think about, why is this? Why were those the responses that people gave? So I just want to do a quick timeline. Radio, it's poorly formatted, sorry. But radio came out in 1920, so that was 3 years before Grandma was born. And then in 1928, we had the first TV signal ever broadcast. And by 1947, TV commercial broadcast was in wide use. The first email was sent on the MIT campus in 1965. First mobile phone was 1973. It was like as big as a shoebox. An early form of the World Wide Web as we know it today was really in place by 1989. Then the first text message was sent. It was OMG for real in 1992. Yeah, that wasn't the first text message, really, but I like the idea that it was. The first Skype video call and video calling platform was launched in 2003. Facebook came out in 2004. The iPhone was 2007, and then I just had to throw this in because it's on my mind. But 2023, that's the year that artificial intelligence passed the bar exam, aced the SATs, aced the GREs, et cetera, and is on its way to being our global ruler. Okay, so In 1937, I guess my thought is people needed $20 million to move to Kansas because it was hard to stay in touch. And if there's one thing that psychology has taught us, that we are social animals and that loneliness is basically like death. So that meant back in 1937, Kansas was basically like death. This is the most expensive home in Kansas currently. It's just over $10 million. So a 1937 person horrified at the idea of having to live in Kansas could buy this home and probably another one for their 6 kids or whatever. And this home is exactly 12 miles from the nearest town. So, things done changed. So 100 years ago, if you moved to Kansas, you had no way to stay in touch with anyone. The idea was like torture. According to Thorndike's study back then, people would rather strangle a cat to death or have their own ear cut off than move to Kansas. But 100 years has given us ways to stay in touch and connect with each other that people simply could not have dreamed of back when Grandma was born. This really puts life 100 years ago into perspective for me. I hope it has for you. So really, the only question left to ask, what's your excuse for not calling Grandma more? Anyway, I love you guys. I love you, Grandma. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope to see you soon with another extra kid in tow. All right, bye-bye.